Lisa Nowak was an astronaut for 11 years. She qualified as a robotics specialist and logged 13 days in outer space. On the 7th of March 2007, she became the first ever astronaut to be fired by NASA. That tends to happen when you try to kidnap someone. NASA astronauts have always been seen as heroes. We place them on pedestals as the best of the best, the ultimate specimens of humanity in the scientific age. And to a large extent, this is deserved. Not only does the NASA astronaut program demand peak physical fitness, but also the finest minds capable of carrying out scientific research, nuanced engineering tasks, incredible self-discipline, and professional calm in the most remarkable and inhospitable frontier known to man, outer space. On the surface, Lisa Nowak was the epitome of this image. Born Lisa Caputo on May 10, 1963 in Washington, D.C., Nowak was a straight-A student, an observant churchgoer, a competitive and ambitious perfectionist who, nevertheless, according to her childhood friend Claudia Kalb, was a cheerful person with a ready smile. Always aspiring to be an astronaut, she graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis in 1985 with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, at a time when women made up only 6% of students and had to endure harassment from both students and professors. She went on to get a master's in aeronautical engineering, and as a commissioned ensign in the Navy, she was assigned to flight training, even though women were banned from combat roles. Already an overachiever, in 1996 she powered through the competitive selection process at NASA and became an astronaut on the shuttle program. On July 4, 2006, she made her one and only trip into space, spending 12 days, 18 hours and 36 minutes beyond Earth as the robotics specialist on board Discovery, a journey which included several spacewalks. In 1988, she married Richard Nowak, an officer in the Naval Air Reserve and a contractor for NASA, with whom she had 3 children. A dedicated wife and mother, she was known for her hosting abilities and her hobby as a competitive cyclist, as well as her hard-working career. As she said herself, "It's definitely a challenge to do the flying and take care of even one child and do all the other things you have to do. But I learned that you can do it." But in 2004, she unwittingly set on the path that would lead to her disgrace. By now a captain in the US Navy, Nowak met fellow astronaut William Offline. Known as Billy O, he joined the shuttle program 4 years after Nowak. According to author Diane Fanning, they grew close on an 11-day training mission in Canada for cold weather survival. Their cozy relationship soon became romantic. Like Lisa Nowak, Offline had been married for 16 years, but unlike Lisa, he was in the process of getting a divorce. At work, in the Johnson Space Center in Houston, they filed forms and trained together, including flying together. Outside work, they were on the same cycling team and trained for races together. When Billy left his wife, he got his own apartment and gave Lisa a key. It was an intense sexual affair. Nevertheless, Billy only described their relationship as somewhat exclusive. In November 2006, he met Colleen Shipman during a training mission in Florida, where she worked at Patrick Air Force Base testing hardware for space flights. The two then traveled between Houston and Cape Kennedy to see each other on weekends. Colleen made sure that Billy ended his relationship with Lisa. Though he insisted to Colleen that he had broken up with Lisa, he waited until the middle of January 2007, after his mission on the shuttle in December 2006, to tell Lisa that it was all over and that he was in a serious relationship with Colleen Shipman. According to Billy, Lisa took the news well. She seemed a little disappointed, but she accepted the breakup. He assumed they could just be good friends. They continued cycling together, flying together, working out together at the gym. They had lunch together in his apartment, where he even let her keep her bike. But Lisa thought differently. She contacted him every day, making over 100 calls, which he didn't always answer. Then one day, Lisa used the key Billy had given her to enter his apartment while he wasn't there. She accessed his computer and read the very personal emails between Billy and Colleen, including one email from Colleen of her flight itinerary between Houston and Orlando on an upcoming weekend visit. Lisa, having never met Colleen, now knew exactly where and when her love rival would be on February the 4th, 2007. Armed with all this information, Lisa printed a map of Colleen's home neighborhood, a map of Orlando Airport, and a map of the driving route all the way from Houston to Orlando. Lisa was going on a road trip. She handwrote a list of 24 things she would take on her journey, including latex gloves, glasses, makeup, sneakers, black size 8 to 9, black sweatpants, binoculars, a baseball cap, food, water, and a cooler for the car. On February the 4th, Lisa drove over 950 miles in 14 hours all the way from Houston to Orlando Airport in time to meet Colleen Shipman's flight arriving at 1 a.m. on February the 5th. Lisa then put on a black wig, red-rimmed sunglasses, black sneakers, and a hooded trench coat, and watched. The airport was mostly deserted, so it was easy to spy on Colleen as she waited at a baggage collection for nearly 2 hours as her delayed luggage arrived. Colleen then took a bus to airport parking. Lisa got on the same bus. But her bizarre appearance caught Colleen's attention. Concerned, Colleen hurried off the bus to her car. She got in and locked the door just in time to see Lisa, in disguise, running at her. Lisa slapped the window and begged for a ride, crying. Colleen wound down the window a few inches, and Lisa pepper-sprayed into the car. Colleen drove away and called the police. They arrived minutes later and saw Lisa dumping a bag into the trash. Inside this duffel bag, police found a 2-pound mallet, a 9mm semi-automatic replica BB gun, a Gerber folding knife, and surgical tubing. In the car, they found $585 and 41 British pounds in cash, her computer, a floppy disk and 2 USB drives filled with bondage photos, and 4 brown paper bags containing 69 unidentified orange pills. Orlando Detective William Beckton also found up to 30 unused diapers in the car, and 2 used ones. He said, "I then asked Mrs. Nowak why she had the baby diapers. Mrs. Nowak said that she did not want to stop and use the restroom, so she used the diapers to collect her urine." Lisa's arrest was a media sensation. The press and talk show hosts seized upon the diapers in particular, reporting that she had spent the entire 14-hour drive wearing the maximum absorption garment, or adult diapers, issued to astronauts during missions. Lisa and her lawyer would later dispute this, and insisted that the diapers had been in the car since her family had been evacuated from Houston during Hurricane Rita in 2005. But Colleen Shipman didn't care, she said. "I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but that's pretty superficial. The woman committed a crime, and the headlines are saying that she wore a diaper. She was going to kill me. It was in her eyes, a blood-chilling expression of limitless rage and glee. Charged with attempted kidnapping, battery, attempted vehicle burglary with battery, destruction of evidence, and attempted first-degree murder, Lisa was released on $25,500 bail to await trial, under the condition that she wear a GPS tracking device and not contact Colleen Shipman. A month later, NASA fired her. In their official statement, they explained, "NASA lacks the administrative means to deal appropriately with the criminal charges pending against Nowak. Because Nowak is a naval officer on assignment to NASA, rather than a NASA civil servant, she is not subject to administrative action by NASA." In other words, NASA could have just suspended her until she was proven innocent or guilty. Instead, they handed her back to the Navy. According to historian Roger Launius, this made her the first ever astronaut to be fired by NASA, and it made her the first astronaut on active duty to be charged with a felony. Nowak's lawyer initially submitted an insanity plea. Eventually, thanks to some good lawyering, she pled guilty to just burglary and misdemeanor battery on November 10, 2009. She was sentenced to 2 days in jail, a year of probation, 50 hours of community service, and counseling. She also had to submit a written apology to Colleen Shipman. To her credit, Lisa apologized publicly in person. In March 2011, she successfully petitioned the court to seal the record of her criminal proceedings, to keep the fine details of the case forever secret. But I have to wonder, why did such a straight-laced overachiever like Lisa Nowak do something so extreme? Well, there may be something to her insanity plea. After her arrest, she underwent several psychiatric evaluations. She was diagnosed with severe depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, insomnia, and a brief psychotic disorder with marked stressors at the time of the incident. It's certainly true that she was under stress when she went after Shipman. In January 2007, she separated from her husband and 3 children, planning to divorce after 19 years of marriage. Furthermore, NASA told her that she wouldn't be assigned to another shuttle mission after her crewmates complained that she wasn't a team player. In hindsight, this isn't surprising. Before her trial, she was also diagnosed with Asperger syndrome, tallying with Claudia Kalb's claim that, as a child, she was reserved and private and somewhat impenetrable. We took classes together, celebrated birthdays together, but I can't say she ever confided. In the midst of this personal and professional turmoil, she pinned her hopes on Billy offline. A letter she wrote to his mother that month says, "Billy is absolutely the best person I've ever known, and I love him more than I knew possible. I am in the process of completing all the official divorce paperwork. It is long overdue, but it is finally here, and I am very much looking forward to getting to know you even better." Then Billy told her he was leaving her for a woman who was 13 years younger than her. Yet even then, Lisa might have dealt with all of this if it weren't for what happened on February 1st, 2003. That day, Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated on re-entry after a piece of foam broke off and hit the ship's wing. The 7 astronauts on board died, including Lisa's close friend Laurel Clark. Lisa became the unofficial grief counselor for Clark's family. She never gave herself time to grieve. Therefore, it may not be a coincidence that Lisa attacked Colleen Shipman on the weekend after the anniversary of the Columbia disaster. NASA, for its part, pointed out that all potential astronauts face rigorous psychological screening before they are accepted, which is true. But Lisa hadn't been tested since 1996, and she knew that after the Columbia disaster, if she'd admitted any mental health struggles to her bosses, she'd have been taken off the shuttle program. Add the fact that her first and only mission in outer space happened merely 7 months before her epic drive to Orlando, and you have to wonder if the stresses of space travel were the real cause of Lisa's breakdown, and Colleen Shipman was just the outlet. In the fallout of this PR disaster, NASA launched an internal review into how it treated the mental health of its astronauts. Then it launched a review into the review after the first review suggested that the astronauts were coping by drinking heavily before takeoff. In the end, NASA reacted to the Nowak incident by changing its policies. Flight surgeons would receive additional training in psychiatric evaluation, and they'd be present during all the suit-up activities before any flight. And, finally, for the first time in its history, NASA published a code of conduct for its astronauts in October 2008. This code of conduct includes pledges like, "We will maintain our professional standards in relationships in both the work and social environments. We will protect and balance the best interests of our co-workers, families, and NASA. We will strive to avoid the appearance of impropriety and readily acknowledge the limits of our expertise." And, "Astronauts will respect and uphold the law and their duties as citizens. Each of us accepts personal responsibility for our conduct." Can't imagine what made them put that in. Lisa Nowak was demoted and given an other-than-honorable discharge from the US Navy in 2011. As of 2017, she lived in Texas and worked in the private sector, and was doing well. She refuses to give press interviews. Billy Offline was released by NASA on May 23, 2007. He married Colleen in 2010. They moved to Alaska, where they live with their son and run a children's writing business. In 2016, Colleen was asked whether or not she forgave Lisa. She said, "She committed a crime, she was convicted, she finished her sentence. I'm not sure there's anything really for me to forgive." I don't know about you, but that's one of the strangest stories I've ever come across, especially in NASA history, and possibly in 20th century history in general. Just so bizarre. I was flabbergasted when I came across it. But what do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. And a huge thank you to all of you, not just for making it to the end of the video, but also to our Patreon supporters and YouTube members whose names you can see on screen right now. Please feel free to go check out our regular podcast episodes, as well as the other videos in this playlist on topics that we find just interesting. See you next time.